What if the story isn't who the Lakers are chasing next? But what happens when the biggest show in basketball realizes the main act might be packing the bags? And what if the clues have been sitting in plain sight, tiny, harmless, easy to ignore until you stack them? Breathe and say, wait, hold on a second. Here's the promise. I'm going to connect dots the way the league actually works: ego, economics, and X's and O's. We're going to talk usage, touches, and endgame trust. We're going to walk through how brands, agents, and CBA realities quietly pressure a roster. We're going to map the exact breadcrumbs that would make the rumor mill go nuclear. No spoilers yet. Just buckle in. You're watching Lakers News Fan Report. If you live for film talk with a little LA chaos on the side, hit that like, subscribe, and jump into the comments, because tonight we're doing what Lakers fans do best: reading the room and calling the shot before it happens. Let's set the table. Every super team has to answer the oldest question in basketball: who owns the last 5 minutes? Not the highlight, not the jersey sales, the last 5 minutes. When defenses load, whistles swallow, and your second best plan is praying for an offensive rebound. That's where even beautiful offenses turn into give it to the guy and live with it. It's also where stars don't forgive. Now, imagine a ball-dominant genius who loves control, pace, and angles. He wants the empty corner, the 1-5 or 1-4 invert. A shooter lifting on the strong side, and a big who rolls on his timing. Not the playbooks. Add the Lakers' constant spotlight and a fan base with a memory like film study: who did what, when, and why. Add a second apron that punishes mistakes with interest. Add legacy. Add expectations. Add Tuesday night at home when the crowd wants fireworks and the other team wants blood. We all know how LA eats. If you're great, this city gives you the boulevard. If there's friction, the microphones grow teeth. There are teams where stars can figure it out for a month without anyone noticing. Los Angeles is not one of those teams. You get 3 cold fourth quarters and suddenly your body language is a think piece. You miss a game in January and suddenly your priorities are under a microscope. That's not hate. That's the price of prime time. Let's talk basketball fit without romance. If your elite engine needs the ball to sing, everyone around him needs to cut sharper, screen smarter, and swallow possessions willingly. That can work if roles are airtight, spacing is clean, and there's trust that crunch time won't become a tug of war. It can also get messy fast, especially when the other alpha on the floor has his own version of "this is how we close." And when it gets messy, it never starts with a press conference. It starts with little stuff: a side eye in a huddle, a late game set that gets changed on the fly, a film session where we quietly becomes you, an agent's call to a national voice, a cryptic caption after a grindy win, and everything's fine that somehow makes everything feel less fine. None of that is scandal. All of it is signal. There's also the calendar. Stars don't threaten without a clock. CBA windows, option years, trade restrictions, these things don't trend on social, but they drive real decisions. If the numbers say you have to either triple down or pivot soon, guess what? Everyone feels it. Coaches feel it in rotations. Role players feel it in fourth quarter cardio. The star feels it every time a possession ends with someone else taking the shot they thought they earned. So what exactly are we sniffing out tonight? A story with gravity. A scenario that would melt the lead if the tea ever boiled over. A move that would hurt feelings, scorch takes, and make the West rewrite its scouting reports overnight. 10 paragraphs of context, because if this ever hit the timeline in a real way, you'd need more than a headline to understand it. Here's the headline you came for. The noise repeat. The noise is that Luka Doncic could walk away from Los Angeles. Leave the Lakers. Choose out. That's the rumor template. That's the storm cloud. That's the thought experiment that's got half the league staring at their cap sheets, like they're staring at a final exam. Not a report, not a Roy bomb and aggressive. What if map of how a superstar of his profile would decide, I'm good. I'm out, even in purple and gold. Now let's be adults in separate theater from tape. Is there an official move? No. Is this sourced as a done deal? No. This is speculation, serious speculation, because the ingredients are real even if the dish isn't plated. Usage friction, closing time hierarchy, media oxygen, and money math that makes compromise harder every month a window narrows. Think like a player. Do I have the ball, the voice, and the runway to win the way I want to win? Think like a franchise. Do we bend the roster to one star's rhythm or keep balance and accept the heat? When those answers diverge, exits become think able dots. So, how would Luka leaves the Lakers actually look if it ever had legs? First, tone changes. The language in scrums gets professional, not warm. Phrases like, we're still figuring it out. We've got time. We'll live with that shot. Drift toward. We need clarity. Second, rotations tighten in ways that protect egos. You'd see lineups built to prioritize one rhythm over another. Third, you get the infamous great practice leak pair with a we're focusing on us post. Fourth, the cap talk will quietly escape the front office and land in studio segments. None of that proves anything. All of it is a map. On the court, you'd notice possession personality. When Luka is happy, possessions have a cadence. Walk it, scan it, knife it. When he's frustrated, you see quick triggers to avoid the second action he didn't call for. That's not selfish, that's rhythm protection. If the Lakers' close games become a coin toss between two musical styles, fans will feel the offbeat. Winning hides everything. One tough week turns whispers into think pieces. That's how this market breathes. There's also the brand angle nobody likes to admit. Los Angeles can magnify a legacy fast, but it can also crowd it. If a star feels like their identity is getting trimmed to fit a costume, that star looks for a tailor. He doesn't need a smaller market. He needs a room where his way is the program. If that room isn't LA, the math becomes simple. Control must be higher than co-star glow. What about the locker room? Humans, not 2K sliders. Guys talk, roles bruise. There's always somebody who loses touches when a mega creator eats. If you stack a roster around two mega creators, you've got to be surgical with the other piece of screeners who don't need sugar. Defenders who don't pout, shooters who don't need rhythm to stay lethal. If any of that slips, the star who values control starts wondering if the environment is too noisy to be precise. Precision is Luka's religion. And look, the Lakers aren't helpless in this hypothetical. There's a version of this where the organization draws bold lines. Here's the closing menu. Here's the pace. Here's the defensive coverage we're living in regardless of who has the ball. Here's the diet of touches a D must get to keep the paint honest. Clarity can heal things. Clarity can also expose differences that won't be reconciled. If it's the latter, exits aren't betrayals. They're acknowledgments. Let's talk ripple effects, because LA doesn't move in a vacuum. If a star like Luka even flirted with leaving, the entire West repencils see projections. Teams sitting on picks start making phone calls they weren't ready to make. Brands line up with activation plans. TV partners daydream. And the league office. Well, the league office loves drama until it threatens continuity. That's when schedules, Christmas slots, and who closes on Thursday night TNT become delicate conversations. How would fans feel? You already know. Half the city would call it soft. Half would call it smart. Both halves would watch the next game like it's the finals. That's the power of Los Angeles. Even your worst day gets 1 million views. Even your quietest quote becomes a mural. It's heavy. Some stars love it. Some tolerate it. Some learn they hate it. But before anybody gets carried away, let's run the boring part, the numbers. In a second apron reality, reshaping around a single star is a brick-by-brick project, not a magic trick. If you tried to rebuild on the fly to soothe thick concerns, you'd need surgical minimums, perfect draft hits, and a tolerance for dead money that makes normal owners sweat. The Lakers have done hard things before. The question is whether you do them for a partnership that still argues about who calls the last melody. There's a basketball truth below the gossip. Offensive genius needs defensive trust to breathe. If the big man buys in, rotates on time, and gets rewarded with touches he values, you get a happy room. If he doesn't, someone feels shortchanged. If perimeter defenders can't hold up on an island, the genius spends energy hunting matchups he should be saving for May. If spacing shooters can't shoot through low-volume weeks, the genius feels trapped. None of that is about Hollywood. It's about basketball physics. Now, if you're asking me to read tea leaves with a coach's brain, here's the adjustment that neutralizes half this storm. Pick a closer and pick it loudly. Not, it depends. Not, we'll read the game. A hierarchy. Design the last 8 play calls around that hierarchy, and let the second star be the hammer when the defense overplays your first principle. It's not romantic. It's clear. Stars don't need love songs. They need a plan. Okay, Laker Nation, your turn. If this scenario ever sniffed reality, what would you do? Ride it out and dare the room to grow up? Rewire the closing menu to hand the keys to the hotter hand, even if that means redefining a legacy? Or call the bluff, lean into identity, and trust that winning 6 in a row solves everything? Drop your take below. If you were running the Lakers, how would you manage a superstar who might prefer control to co-stardom? What's your closing 5? What's your pace? And who gets the ball with 1:12 left down 1? My personal opinion, I wouldn't push the panic button. I'd set a hard closing hierarchy, guard it with role clarity, and bet on the talent to iron out the noise. But let's be crystal clear. This entire piece is speculation, not a report.